Hey there, how's it going? My name is Keegan Kirk. I do tarot readings here on YouTube. If you are new here, it's nice to meet you. If you're returning, thank you for coming back. I hope that you get lots of guidance and insight from whatever comes out in the reading today. I do want to talk to you guys just really quickly about a couple of things. It's not going to take long. Please don't skip ahead. There's not going to be a mid-roll ad, so please just bear with me as I talk to you about this. It'll mean a lot to me if you don't skip ahead. First thing I want to talk to you guys about are personal readings for February. I'm still offering special prices for my recorded readings. So that's 30 minutes for $45, 60 minutes for $75. You send me your questions in advance. I record your reading and I send it to you. I'm also starting something brand new. I've never offered this before. For the entire time that I've been on YouTube, it's probably the most requested thing from people. And I've not done it until now. But starting in February, I'm going to do live one-on-one sessions, which means you will have a specific day and time that you and I connect one-on-one live. You can ask me whatever you want. I'll pull cards. We can talk about things. If you want me to look more deeply into something, if you want me to change directions, if you have specific things that come through that you want me to explore, you'll have full control over that session. That'll be a 60-minute session with me. It's priced at $150. If you are interested in doing a reading with me, all you have to do is send an email to keaghantarot@gmail.com to book that reading. And I look forward to hearing from those of you who want to do personal readings with me in February. I'm super excited to see who takes advantage of the live sessions because I know lots of you have asked me to do those. For the February general reading spread, I'm going to be taking a look at areas where you might need to deal with some blocks. So we're going to take a look at the most urgent need, then we'll look at spiritual, emotional, and mental blocks, and then we'll take a look at any unseen factors that you might not even be aware of. So that's for the general reading, the one that you're watching now. Now I will be doing an extended reading for channel members, and in that reading, I'm actually just going to use oracle cards and a few tarot decks to get messages through from your spirit guides, your ancestors, and your higher self pertaining to the blocks and the information that comes out in the general reading. Now, I've had lots of people ask me how to become a channel member because YouTube makes it a little bit complicated. So I just want to walk you guys through that really quickly. So if you go to YouTube and you search for my channel, if you click on a PC on my channel, the easiest way to join is to click that join button. It's going to bring up this that you see. You can click join. It takes you through the entire process. It's much more complicated to do on your phone. Now, I will put a link in the description box below that will also allow you to take a look, to click through, to try on your phone. But I'm just telling you, it's so much easier if you can do it from a web browser or use a browser on your phone to sign up. Thank you so much for bearing with me as I walked you through those things. We are going to go ahead and go right into the general reading now. I've put up a reminder here for you so you can just have a reminder of what the spread is. I will walk you through that as we explore the cards. Okay, Leo, let's take a look and see what's going on here energetically for you guys for the time period of February 1st through the 15th, 2021. We're going to start right here in the middle. These cards represent the most urgent need. And I want to focus on the card that's dead center. You have Justice coming out here upright. Now you have 3 major arcana cards showing up here as a major need. So this feels like something that has a lot of energy behind it. These cards are not bad. Okay, so along with Justice, you have the Fool card upright and the Hermit card also showing up upright. I want to start here with Justice, though. It's interesting in terms of a most urgent need because the energy here really feels positive to me, to be honest with you. What this feels like to me is that you've gotten to a place where you feel like you actually have, I guess I would say, fairness in terms of a relationship that you have. This feels to me like being in a spot where previously in relationships, things have not necessarily worked out for you. It's always been a situation where you're dealing with like dishonesty, you're dealing with lies, you're dealing with just being like what's coming through is just feeling really frustrated in that what you put in or what you're willing to give to someone has not been returned to you previously. But the cards here indicate that you found someone that you actually feel like you can trust. You feel like it's someone that you can not only trust them, but you feel like you've learned a lot yourself. So you're trusting in your decision to be with this person in this particular relationship. Now, what I will say here is what's coming through to me in terms of like your pressing need around this is that you want to be able to just kind of tune everything out other than this relationship. And we'll talk about why that might not necessarily be the best thing for you. This Hermit card to me really feels like In a way, it feels welcome because as I said, I think in past relationships, you've never been able to just actually settle into the relationship and enjoy it. You've always kind of had your guard up. You've always been worried about when is the shoe going to drop? When is, some sort of secret going to come out? When is, the mask going to drop? When are you going to see the other side of the person? So in this particular connection, you are just settling into it. But it's almost like I don't know how to explain this. It's not bad yet, okay? I think for right now, this desire that you have to just kind of lean into this relationship, enjoy it for what it is, that's fine. It's almost like I feel like your energy's hovering up here with this Fool card. The Hermit card sitting here, though, feels to me like the next step for you. And that, sorry guys, I've been talking a lot today. This Hermit card to me feels like truly what's coming through as what you need to do next, right? And that's really about, you can still stay in that space of kind of pulling away and not really engaging with other energies, but you need to engage with your own energy more, okay? It's almost like you've been so swept up in the relationship and enjoying that you've just neglected yourself. One thing I will say here with this Hermit card, the Hermit card often can indicate when someone's about to enter into a place where they have a big spiritual awakening or they begin going on their spiritual journey. There's some other things going on here in the reading that make me feel like that is what's happening here for you, but it's almost like you don't want to deal with it. There's an avoidant energy that's coming through. I'm going to go ahead and move up to this section because that's what I'm starting to talk about, because this represents the spiritual blocks that you have going on. And what's interesting is you have the Fool card sitting here. So clearly this is an indication of a relationship that you feel comfortable in, right? But spiritual blocks, when I pulled cards from the other deck, you got the 4 of Cups, 9 of Cups, and 8 of Cups, all of them reversed. So this is why I'm saying to you, it's a little concerning to me because it almost feels like this relationship, it's not that this relationship is blocking you from going on that spiritual journey or developing yourself spiritually. It's more like it's a distraction for you to avoid going into that spiritual experience. This 4 of Cups to me, it feels like when you got into this relationship, it feels to me like this relationship was meant to be a catalyst to propel you towards something that was like, this sounds kind of cliche, but I'm going to use this term. Like, this relationship, finding this person, finding this relationship, it was meant to propel you into something that would be almost like life changing. Not that the relationship is so like, oh my gosh, everything is different. The relationship and having this thing that has felt to you like it was just out of your reach or that you couldn't find it, right? Actually finding that person, manifesting the relationship, seeing this relationship thrive, seeing this relationship be healthy for a period of time, right? That was supposed to instill in you this belief that maybe there are other things. Maybe there are other things out there that I've felt weren't within my grasp or that I didn't believe that they were possible. But seeing what's happened here, maybe I should reevaluate those things. That's what the energy feels like, okay? This 4 of Cups is coming through about there being some sort of a change in your outlook or a change in how you're, like the direction in which your life is heading, okay? But it's almost like you're too pulled inward. But you're not pulled inward enough, okay? That's why I'm saying there's a little bit of a conflict here. There's a need for you to go more in depth with this Hermit card in terms of opening yourself up spiritually, okay? You need to go deeper in that, but you're avoiding it, right? This 9 of Cups sitting here reversed, to me, it's like the energy of this reading is kind of confusing for me because I feel like everything has almost like a double meaning. And I'm saying that mostly because I think you'll understand that if this reading is resonating with you so far. Like, on one hand, you look at your life and you're like, this is amazing. This is awesome. This is exactly what I've always wanted. I'm loving the way that things are. And then almost in the next moment, you look at your life and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I'm not doing. There's so much that I'm missing out on. I don't have motivation. Like, that's the type of energy that I'm talking about, where it switches and it doesn't even feel like it's changing like day to day. It feels like it's changing moment to moment, depending on where you're at during the course of the day. But the thing that's actually causing the problems here is that you're too focused on the us, you're too focused on the we, and you're not focused enough on self. You have to dive more deeply into exploring yourself. But there's a reluctance, and it's almost like it's not that, I don't want to say that you're being lazy. It's more just like avoidant energy. But with this Nine of Cups, Eight of Cups sitting here, it feels to me like you're just letting things get in your way. That is old stuff. And you're not allowing yourself to tap into the energy of what this relationship was supposed to spark within you. Now, it's totally possible, obviously it's a little bit tricky doing these readings right now because the world is so weird. And, I try not to talk about this too much in these readings, but it's something I have to address sometimes because, um, right now it's a weird time. Some people feel totally comfortable diving in and doing work on themselves right now because they're like, I have all the time in the world. I might as well do it now. But other people, it's like the stress of what's happening in the world is almost too much for them to take on anything else. So I don't want to say that like there's any judgment here. Okay. I'm not judging what you're doing, but I am saying what's showing up here in terms of spiritual blocks is just that you're not engaging with the spiritual ripples that are coming out of meeting this person, finding this relationship. Okay. I see energetically that the universe kind of presented you with this because it was one of the things that you were really asking for, and you got it. And it was one of the things that you didn't think that you would find. What are the other things you've been asking for, but you still feel like you don't believe that you can have them? Is it abundance with money? Is it a career that you love? Is it moving to a new city? Is it finding friends? What is it that you are trying to manifest outside of this? Because this relationship, this connection is solid. You don't need to have as much you don't need to have as much fear, I think, is what's coming through here. You shouldn't have fear around this. This person is, like I just heard, like locked in. Like this person is locked in. So you can take some of that energy that you're still putting into, I don't know, it almost feels like trying to convince yourself this is real. Because again, I'm not sensing anything here right now in this moment that's a threat to this. It's solid. Okay, so take your energy, move it into manifesting other things. That's what these cards are representing. Don't use this as a distraction from bringing other good things into your life that the universe wants to present to you. All right, this is the area where I want to probably spend a little bit of time because in terms of emotional blocks, dead center here, you have the sun. Okay, so that tells me that the emotional blocks are things that you will ultimately be able to work through. Okay, ultimately you're going to be able to deal with this. Now, I've kind of already talked about this. It's interesting doing a reading like this. I kind of love it. Let me know what you guys think about this, right? Where I can see everything that's here, right? I'm not kind of going one at a time. The reason I like doing readings like this sometimes is that I can look at a huge picture. So I've kind of already talked a little bit about this, but I want to point something out to you. The Sun card is saying everything's good here. Everything's good here. If there's something that you're still working on, you'll figure it out. If there's something that you have a fear of, there's no need to fear. So what are the other two cards that have shown up with this, right? We have the Knight of Coins upright and the Four of Wands reversed. What's the energy of this? Okay, so Knight of Coins, this is all about Stability. This is the knight that is putting in the work. They're showing up when they are needed. If they commit to something, they're there. Their follow through is solid. This is the knight that's willing to work as hard as they need to get to where they want to go. Then you have the Four of Wands, and this is reversed, right? So this energy is really about something that doesn't feel stable, something where you are potentially dealing with a lot of conflict. You're dealing with like, this is so interesting because it feels like for some of you, you're sitting and it feels energetically almost like you're planning out the move, like the leaving. This card can represent literally like leaving home or moving out, right? So this is a little bit confusing to me, these cards, because they seem to be in conflict. Okay, so I want to talk to you about this because here's what I get energetically from this. It's almost like you aren't quite sure how to deal with having the stability that you've wanted. It triggers certain things within you that almost feel like you want to run away from it. You have to embrace this, though. You have to embrace having someone that you can trust. And that's tricky, I think, for you because, like I said at the very beginning, historically, you have not had that. Historically, you've had people who have taken advantage, people who have manipulated, people who have lied, people who have mistreated you in various ways. And in presented with this situation, I think you kind of went into it with the same expectation almost of this probably won't last. This probably is me just thinking that there's something here when there's not. This person's probably going to do what other people have done. And it's almost like your emotions are still primed for that. Your emotions are still like bags packed, ready, one foot out the door, waiting, for the big threat to show up. But this is stable. This is blessed. Now, if that doesn't resonate with you, like if you're watching this and you're like, this isn't stable, this is, erratic and chaos and, you don't understand what they're like, this reading isn't for you. Okay. There might still be some messages in this for you, but I'm telling you, in this situation, this relationship, it's solid. It has a purpose. Okay. The people who this reading is for, they will understand what I'm talking about because like I said, there's this confusion internally when I tune into your energy. The people that this reading, right? The energy of the people that this reading matches with, you at the end of the day, you will reflect back on your thoughts and you will think, oh my gosh, they're all over the place. How do I go from 1 minute feeling like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing, the most amazing person in the world, I can't believe that I found this, to in the next moment, like literally mere moments later, thinking to yourself, what am I going to do when this all blows up? Where am I going to go? How am I going to, take care of this? What am I going to, like, it's almost like you're still planning this exit strategy. Why do you need an exit strategy from this? It feels like you're being triggered because it's too much for you to accept. But the key to this whole thing is for you to accept, I called forth this relationship. I called forth this person. I was clear with the universe what I wanted, who I needed to show up. And the universe brought this connection into being. I now have this. I don't have to spend my time worrying about it going away or worrying about it being wrong because I was very clear about what it was that I wanted to manifest. You did something differently in this relationship, and that's what you need to focus on. Okay? We're going to move up here to the mental blocks. What I'll point out here, you had the Four of Cups come out reversed from this deck. The Four of Cups came out reversed again over here. In terms of mental blocks. And again, that Four of Cups, to me, the energy that I get from that is like, you have to come out of kind of like, it doesn't even necessarily feel like isolation. It just feels like numbness in your mind. Like you're not even wanting to think about what you could be doing, or you don't want to think about where you could be putting your efforts or energy. Part of it is fear. Okay. You have the Tower sitting here. Part of it is fear that if you take your eyes off this relationship, if you stop kind of thinking and it feels very like hyper vigilant about trying to prevent something from going wrong. Okay. I don't actually sense there's a Tower moment approaching because this is a mental block. Okay. You're imagining this is going to happen. Your fear of this is, it's like keeping your mind running. Okay. And it's interesting because, again, like I said, this reading's a little confusing. It's like this shows up in some ways for you where you, like what I was talking about, where you're like, what am I going to do when this all explodes? How am I going to, like, what's my exit plan? What's my plan B? What, like, that's part of it. Then the other part is like this hypervigilance of trying to not do anything to upset, not do anything to put things at risk, just wanting to protect this connection at all costs. That's very confusing, right? I'm sure it is for you. I'm saying it's confusing for me. Kind of going back and forth between being convinced that this is going to fall apart, right? That triggers you to then be hypervigilant about trying to protect it. But no matter what you do to try to protect it, you swing back around to trying to think about what am I going to do when it falls apart. But this is in your head. The fear of this is in your head. There's nothing going on in reality. There's nothing showing up energetically for me here that makes me feel like this is something that's going to fall apart. You have the Star card sitting here. Keep in mind, right? You have the Sun card here with your emotional blocks. You have the Star card showing up here in mental blocks. And the Star card is all about being like hopeful about something, believing in something, having faith in something. It's a fortunate card. So, the cards are saying there's so much good here. There's so much good here, but your fear keeps getting triggered. Your fear keeps kicking in. And you have to take a breath and ask yourself, why am I becoming so worried when I'm not being presented with anything here in the present in this particular relationship that should make me have that level of concern? That will help you to tune in to what I was talking about in the spiritual journey of looking at your trauma, looking at the stuff that needs to be resolved. If we don't deal with our trauma, if we don't confront it, if we don't unpack it, if we don't feel what we need to feel about it, process it, learn from it, then we're always kind of in that state of trauma. And even when we're presented with something that doesn't exactly align to whatever that traumatic experience was in the past, we think that it's just right around the corner. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about this Hermit card now that I've made it over here. Okay. The reason for that is I want to go back because I think part of the reason that you're avoiding really going where you need to go with this Hermit card, and that's about turning inward, really reflecting, learning, being on that place of like really growing, exploring yourself and evolving, being on that spiritual journey. The reason you're scared to do that is because, number one, you think if you take your eyes off of just trying to make sure this doesn't fall apart, it will. It won't. So you can let that go, right? I'm not saying you don't have to put any effort or energy into your relationship. Clearly, relationships require that we're focused on them. But this almost feels like obsessive worry, okay? It's like being so concerned that something's going to happen to take this away from you when this is something that is not going to go away, okay? You still have to show up. You still have to be present, but you don't have to be freaked out. Trust in this. The other part to it that I think is kind of causing you some issue in moving into where you need to move is that you haven't quite gotten to the place where you're separating out where you're at now, like accepting where you're at now versus where you've been in the past. And that's the first step of starting to move into this, because then you can look at this and say, wait, there are things from the past that are impacting how I feel in this relationship that aren't related to this relationship, and I need to deal with those things. Because I'm in a space now where I'm not in a toxic relationship. I'm not in an abusive relationship. I'm not in a space where I feel terrified and alone. I'm in a different space. I'm in a space where I'm actually happy. I'm in a space where I have someone who cares about me. I'm in a space where I have room to deal with some of the stuff from my past that I didn't have a chance to deal with when I was going through it. Because it was too much to deal with when I was actively going through it. But now, where you're at right now, it's safe to try to deal with that stuff. Because you have someone at the end of the day that you can turn to if you've had a hard day and say, you know what, I just need a hug. I just need somebody to just listen to me. I just need to cry, and that's probably going to take 5 minutes and then we feel better. Okay? I hope that resonates with you, because what I sense from this reading is just heightened concern and worry and anxiety that really is just, it's not necessary. And I'm not a reader who sugarcoats things. You can scroll through and look at things I've posted before, like, this is not who you think it is. I think the last reading I actually did for Leo was a reading like that, where I was like, they're not your twin flame. Okay? I don't think this is the same group. That happens often with me for some reason. I'll read for one group of people the first part of the month, and then my mid-month readings, they'll be for a different group. It just kind of switches back and forth with some of the signs. This doesn't feel like a continuation of that reading. The people who needed to be informed, this is not what you think it is, stop putting up with it, they got their message. This reading is kind of the opposite. You're worrying too much. This is someone who's actually good for you. Okay? Last section that we're going to take a look at here. Now, these are unseen factors that might be influencing this connection or causing problems, making these blocks become more prominent. Queen of Wands coming out here. And this makes sense to me. This represents fire energy, right? So this isolation, right? Hermit, Four of Cups, the Eight of Cups even, like, it just feels like you're not pushing yourself forward. You're not really like figuring out how to push yourself into not just being in this relationship, not just being focused on this one person. The Queen of Wands needs to be out there, needs to be social, needs to be engaging with people, needs to have attention on her, needs to be like communicating and engaging and charming people. The not to stereotype your sign, right? But you need attention. You need attention from someone who isn't this person. And that's not about cheating. That's not about anything like that. It's just, you're not the type of energy that one person is going to be enough for you. Not talking about relationships or romance. Potentially, if you're someone who's poly or you're wired towards, having multiple partners. But what I'm saying is, you need friends. You need social activities. You need hobbies. You need things that are keeping you busy. And again, I'll acknowledge the world is weird right now. Okay? You may not be able to do anything about that right now, but you should be aware of it. This is unseen things. If you're feeling like you don't have energy, go out and do something. It doesn't even have to be around other people. You can go out in nature. You can take a car ride. You can, just go take a walk. But get out, get moving. Ideally, if you can find a way of being social safely, right, then just try to engage with more people, because that helps. It gives you more energy. Being social, being engaged, being connected with other people, it gives you an energy boost. Okay? This is the other thing that is showing up as unseen for me, and I've already talked to you about it, right? You're meant to be propelled into something that will help you really close out some cycles in your life. It's time for you to enter into a new phase of life. Okay? And the sooner you start that process, the better. Because as soon as you engage with it, you have support coming through from the universe. Keep in mind, for the extended reading on this, I'm going to ask your spirit guides, ancestors, and your higher self to give more insight and information around this, right? I'm pretty sure they're going to try to explain to you that you're almost holding yourself back from blessings. You're right on that, right on the edge of closing out a lot of stuff and moving into something that's brand new in terms of how your life feels, where your life is going. Like, when I look at this and I think energetically, I can see, your life goes on this trajectory really quickly. It feels super fast to me. But it's like where you're at right now, your energy, you're just standing still. It's almost like you're not even seeing that path that's being illuminated in front of you saying, go this way. Because you're worried about I'm trying to think of one of my analogies. If you watch my readings, you know that I love to give, you know, some sort of analogy or some sort of visual for you. This feels like if I walked up to you and I was like, hey, here's $20. If you go around the corner and down to the end of the block, there's someone else there that has $100 for you too. And you take the $20 and then you just stand there and you get in your head so much about, is there someone down the street? Should I go? Is it greedy for me to go and take that $100 when I just got 20? Maybe I should let somebody else go get that money. What if it's a trick? What if that person's waiting and they're going to take the 20 and they're going to rob me and take my phone and my car? Like, it's just, you have to trust that there is purpose to this. You have to engage and go on to that next phase, whatever that is for you. Last card here in terms of unseen things, you have the Seven of Pentacles. This is really interesting to me because the Seven of Pentacles as a card, it's a good card, right? This is about putting in work, being patient, waiting, believing that even if it takes a while, the efforts that you've put into something, they'll pay off, okay? Now, this is an unseen factor that's contributing to the blocks. So to translate that meaning, right, I'm just going to show you this again. It doesn't have to take a long time. I'm going to make a point here, right? If you're still with me, you're still hanging out, you're still listening, you need a little bit of more of a nudge. It's true that you might have gone through a lot, right, before you met this person. That's true. But I want you to ask yourself, did you really have to do anything to meet this person, to end up with this person, to stay with this person, to be happy with this person, other than just ask for them to show up? As soon as this person came in, as soon as you met this person, as soon as they popped into your life, it feels to me like they've just been there. They've just been there. It wasn't hard. Manifesting anything else that you truly want that's good for you also doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be something that you toil over and beg for and plead for. It's just a matter of shifting your energy. And the way that you shift your energy is in calming your mind, releasing fears, dealing with your trauma, and engaging on that spiritual journey that's ahead of you. Okay? You're gonna be fine. You will be fine. So that's going to conclude the general reading for you. I hope that you got good messages and guidance. If you're going to join me for the extended reading, the link to that will be in the description box of this video below. That's just the easiest way that I figured out so far of letting people know how they can access that extended reading. If you're not a channel member yet, I'll also put a link in the description box that will allow you to sign up to become a channel member so you have access to all of the extended readings that I do for these general readings. And again, I'm going to ask for communication from your spirit guides, your ancestors, and your higher self. And if you're going to join me for that, you can just click through on the link and we'll get started. If not, I'll be back in a couple of weeks to do a mid-month check-in for you. And, let me know. Leave me a comment, like this video, share it, or share one of the other videos with friends. Be brave. You're Leo. Be brave. You got this. Hey guys, I'm jumping in here at the end of the reading. Just to let you know that I have joined TikTok. And so if you're interested in following me there, you can find me at Keaghan Kirk. And I would love to see you. If you are going to follow me and you're someone who's subscribed to YouTube, or you found me through YouTube, then take a moment just to leave a comment on any of the videos that I've posted on TikTok and say I'm coming from YouTube, just so I know that you're there and I can say hello.